it's a solid metal casting in there. There's a lot of metal here.
Yeah.
It's the old pit winding wheel from the top of the head frame on a, what is it, Bowburn Colliery?
No, this will be from the Coxer.
Because it's like loads of quarries, not quarries, mines around here, coal mines. Video about the Clarence Railway quite a while ago now. Well, you can see here we've followed that disused railway line, and you can see ahead they're actually replica level crossing gates. The railway through here, I've got a date for when it was actually taken up, and it was as late as 1985, which was the point at which the quarry stopped sending stuff out by rail. Although what it said is that that's when the track, when it was officially taken out of use, but it's believed that nothing had been sent out by rail for a couple of years at that point.
And talking of that railway line, I remember it being there when I was in my early teens, because we used to follow it every now and again. So yeah, it was around for quite a while. And if I remember correctly, you could follow it all the way to, wow, was it Cornforth? Or at least Ferry Hill. This is where I used to remember all the train line stuff being. It was just laid, it was the end of the line with a barrier and all sorts, but it all seems to have gone now. But even into the mid-90s it was still here, so when it actually disappeared I can't tell you. But you can follow this all the way up there and it will go over to Cornforth. We used to do that sometimes, because that's where my uncles lived, and it was a good way to get there. Was this track all gone before you arrived?
Oh yeah, first time I really came up to the northeast would have been, I guess, about 1996. So that's nearly 10 years after the tracks were taken up. And we'd have
No, the tracks were still there in the early 90s. I remember them.
Oh, it's interesting because what I saw online suggested that the tracks were taken up in 1985.
So this part, this section here, I remember the barrier still being there and going all the way up.
Barrier?
Yeah, there was like a buffer or something there, and it just went up there.
Buffer stop?
Yeah, small amount of track. I couldn't tell you how far it went because I honestly can't remember, but definitely was still there.
We want to do part 2 of that video we did quite some time ago, and that would involve exploring in that direction. Now, I've already done that. I followed it all the way to the East Coast Main Line before now, but I didn't film any of it. But there's certainly no track left on it now. Although the other line, which goes up to Quarrington Hill, that actually there is still, or there was, remnants of track still there in the undergrowth. And there's even a level crossing with the rails in the road as well.
Was this fine then, having a look sometime?
Yeah, yeah. Right. I've seen a photograph from 1985, I think, and the photograph was taken from the point of view of being stood here, looking that way, and it's all overgrown, but you could see the outline of the rails crossing this track. They're not there now, but I do wonder whether if you scrape the dirt off, whether the rails are still buried underneath here. Because there's, like, I'll go over and I'll touch it, but there's a post still there. I'll go and touch it, and then on the photograph, you can see what it really was. See where there's been a sign on it. The sign's gone. But I suspect that the sign used to say, whistle. Today's video has been brought to you in part thanks to the generous donation of my fans on Patreon. And an extra special huge thanks go out to Anthony Kidson, Mark Anthony, Michael Churchwood, Mark McShane, Bob Threeton, Alec Ralph, and Anthony Hunt. If you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/JenniferKirk. Thank you. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knobty Mouse. Thanks, and catch you later.